indicated that project leaders would have a maximum of 4 to 5 minutes to respond to what they are seeing and hearing, the kind of feedback they are receiving from this meeting, but as well, what are they taking home? So try to be very brief and succinct, and Derek and Jim would moderate this. So I wanted to propose that we go in the order of presentation during this meeting. So the first batch, please just take note of when you are presenting. So the first group of 4 presentation would be by Igboin 1, Hailu 2, Fiedler 3, Apaah 4. So that would be the first batch. The next batch would be Ogunbiyi 5, Musili 6, Ngale 7, Akin-Otiko 8. And then lastly, Sibanda 9, Kwaramba 10, Mugambi 11, Solomon 12. I will send this order to the chairs, and we can follow sequentially. So please, Jim and Derek, I don't know how you split this, but I will just leave you to.
We will improvise. We're probably good at that. Yes, I have my little timepiece here, and the alarm will go ding at 5 minutes. But of course, if someone gets interrupted, they get more seconds. So the first is Igboin. Is that right, Afa?
Yes, please. Igboin 1.
Okay, so come to the front, and we will be happy to hear you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Benson.
Igboin Benson is my name. We're working on the politics and poetics of violent prayers in Nigerian Pentecostal churches. I will just encapsulate our feedback and reflections with just a word: conversion. Conversion. Because the question of how to do what has been the question we have been looking at since the beginning of this workshop. And so that question has been one of the questions we have also been interrogating in our team meetings until now. And so substantially, the question of how to go about what we have set our minds to do has been answered and explained. And that, again, resonates in grounded theology, which is the underlying methodology for the project that we are embarking on. I must say that at first we were a little bit apprehensive. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm giving you more time because of the internet connection.
Okay. So we have also seen that question of literature review answered along the line. And so that apprehension has also been resolved. And to cap it up, I can say very confidently that at this point in time, what are we taking home? One, we are taking back home that we have been converted. We have been equipped to know what research methods and techniques we need to deploy as we go to the field. that, again, is important for us because if we went to the field and we never had any guide, we would just be rambling over there and come back empty-handed, so to speak. So we are grateful that this workshop is put together, and we know that after now, at the next workshop we are having, there will be more to report on what we have done with what we have equipped with at this workshop. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next is Hailu, group number 2.
Thank you, Professor Jim. I better switch off the video to get a stronger connection, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I would like to say that all the presentations have fulfilled what the workshop has promised. And on this, the organizers, Professor Afe, Ratif, must congratulate themselves. This is really one of the best workshops I've ever attended. And I would like to say thank you so much, much respect. And as those who were also tirelessly helping us in different capacity, Nelly and the others, thank you so much. Okay, a few points about the knowledge we have got from this work. That this reflection will only be mine, as we, those in the team, haven't got time to discuss together. They would have said more, but this is mine. I'm a historian with a background of theological and contemporary cultural study. And if I may dare to predict the future in light of the past and the present, or so to say, make an academic prophecy, I think that the main theme of this workshop would no doubt shape the theological discourse in seminaries and the theological college for the coming 10 or 20 years. Time would prove it, whether I'm wrong or right. Let me give you an example from my own school's experience. I live in Ethiopia and serve in Ethiopian Graduate School of Theology. And those who are coming for their master's study are usually not only those who did their degree in theology, their undergrad studies. It is amazing to see that the majority of our students are professionals who have studied in the field of natural or social sciences, their undergraduate or postgraduate studies. And this is in strictly secular universities. They did their degrees in strictly secular universities. For them, the main driving force, or so to say passion, for them to come to our theological school is to learn theology and study theologically oriented leadership, management, and development classes. And our struggle is how to integrate theological knowledge into their field of study. And we always try to kind of baptize them into theological field. Now, in this workshop, what came to light is an extremely important and much needed knowledge about how a theologian can be coerced to fit into the world of social sciences. At least this is my impression. It is a kind of going out from the comfort zone of theology or theological cave, if you wish, to that of an exploration of social world and engage with African reality, which is important to understand the living community and their social world. I don't think that you want me to comment on all 5 presentations, but I say that I found the presentation of all 5 professors complementary to one another. And just to add a few points, what we have planned and what we will do next is clear now. After listening to all the presentations and the question-answer sessions, I am now more confident that we have fulfilled the basic requirement of the project. I am now glad that I've teamed up with 2 exceptional academics to work with, they are willing to work with me to research on spiritual association or fellowship known as Mother. Both of them are seasoned scholars in their field of expertise with superb research experience, and one of them even never went to political college, but a social scientist. And Dr. Theodros is a seasoned theologian, systematic theologian, and I know that we are in all this after listening to your presentations and attending conference workshop. The idea entertained and advices made in the workshop has confirmed, according to my understanding, that we are, as a team, are good combination to fulfill the task envisioned in the project. And I'm very honored to work with them. Then a few points about the advice we get from project advisor, Professor Damaris Parista, who is really an incredible scholar with exceptional academic caliber. She discussed with us at some depths the way forward. And since I know that this is her second Ethiopian project to advise, I'm very confident that she will guide us further to successfully finish the research. This is just a few points from my side, and I'm very confident that confident to say that after following this, attentively following this workshop, even if there are some internet disruption from my side, I can't wait to listen to the recordings somehow after this workshop. Once again, I'm grateful. Once again, I'm very grateful to the organizers. And Amasagnalo in my language is thank you so much.
Eric, why don't you introduce the next 2?
The next presenter is Fiedler, the group.
Thank you very much. I would like to say that this workshop has been very enlightening for my team. We are now more confident to do what we planned to do. And we are happy that we are not going to do drastic changes. The only, in terms of what we decided in terms of where to do our research, there will be no change on that. And also on our products, we are very comfortable on that. However, without this workshop, I think our hanging out in the field would have been detrimental. But now listening to Akin-Otiko, we have learned that we need to use all of the senses that endowed upon us, to get data from the field. We've also learned from Jim a very easy way of knowing what tools we need to bring to the field if we know the type of data and follow the 6 steps. So we are really confident on that. And also we have learned a lot on having the Umuntu perspective in terms of trying to do our project in an interdisciplinary way. Our main product is developing a curriculum. So we are going to work with our team, not only at the production of the curriculum level, but also we will be delivering the curriculum. We will make sure that we continue to cooperate with them in the delivery of this what is that? Yeah, so in summary, what we can say is that we have looked at our loopholes in terms of the approach. We are going to use this ethnographical approach, sociological approach, and we have already linked up with our PA, who has also started brainstorming with us on the starting point of our project. And we are very much comfortable, and we will be developing one research guide, and we will be beginning with the pilot study and then start our work. So we are very much, we are very comfortable, and we think we are going to do a good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So if Apaah could present next, please.
You are muted. You are muted.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to start by saying that these keywords express what the experiences have been for my team. We feel very humbled, so challenged to think outside of the box, and also very much inspired by the illuminating experiences of the facilitators. The question that has been running through our thoughts has been, how do these experiences speak to our own journey, looking at our present reality, where we hope to be and how we hope to achieve that feat as grantees and at the end of the day as seasoned scholars. A few key things have jumped at us so strongly. And one of such happens to be the use of our senses in research. This has come to us as very intriguing because we are dealing with symbols, we are dealing with semiotic expressions, and we need to think outside of the box. How do we listen in silence or to the silence? How do the emotions come to play here? And these are things that we've had to think about so strongly. I must say that before this period or before going through this session, it was something that had not crossed our minds. And it is one of the key things we want to employ or tools we want to employ in this research. We have also gone through a whole lot of methodological experiences over the last couple of days. For the very first time, I think after going through the proposal and also getting the opportunity of being part of the grantees, for the very first time, I've had to ask myself, together with the team, why this research? And what is the sense of meaning we seek to attain? What are the realities of the various people we intend to engage with? And there comes up our positionality in this whole experience. I must confess that we would have done a purely descriptive study, but for this particular experience. And so we are very much challenged to come up with our creativities, engage with new concepts, look out for all these new concepts that jump at us as we engage with data and as we engage with our interlocutors. And I think one thing that we want to look out for so strongly are what are the new things coming up? How do we use those things in critiquing old thought patterns on the field, and how do they endorse what is already in data or what has already been explored? Probably the last but one thing I want to talk about is when I was doing my PhD, my area is in indigenous knowledge systems in the intersection between Christian theology and mission studies in world Christianity. But I didn't have an African conceptual framework to engage with or theoretical framework to engage with. And so what happened was I had to lean on a Western theoretical framework. When it was about time to defend my thesis, it was one of the things I was worried about. Thank God for this experience. Thank God for grounded theology. This is just the beginning. I think we are yet to get really grounded in this area. And so we are looking forward to the surprises and opportunities of coming up with theories that jump at us from the field, not imposing our thoughts on them, but what do the data say to us? At the end of the day, we acknowledge the limitations also of all these approaches and what new things we get to learn. What we take home finally would be the heightened interest in research methodology It hasn't been an area of strength for me. I don't think my colleagues have also been very strong in this area. But throughout last night, one thing that came back to me was, apart from curriculum development, I think this is one area I could really get grounded and also contribute to the development of our various departments. Thank you so much. We are good to go. Thank you. I must say thank you to our PA. She's been great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Jim, do you want to introduce the next two?
Sure, I'll do the next two. Number 5 is Ogunbiyi.
Okay, sir. My name is Tayo Weye, representing the Ogunbiyi's group. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, sir. I want to appreciate the Nagal Institute. I want to appreciate everyone in charge of this program for their for the support for this platform that we've been given. It's a great platform. We do not take it for granted. We've been built. We've developed muscles for the field work. Our reflections are quite many. One thing that really stood out for us was thinking without a box, which I think came out as objectivity and creativity. When we're actually doing a study of this nature. And that's run through every aspect of the workshop. Literature review is key. Distinguishing between the voices in which you are hearing on the field. I think there was a statement about his story, our story, them story, and their story. Being able to sieve out all these stories and be able to know which one is actually speaking, and being able to differentiate the stories. Our PA has been a wonderful person. I think much more than a professor to us, is also our friend. He really came down to really talk to us about our work, and he made mention about some things about our work which we are also working on. We're also taking up the issue of networking that we are having there. There's a great platform for networking. Already we are networking with Sam on curriculum development because of some advice being given to us. From the breaking down of James' research process, simplistic, the grounded theory, that is the feedback. That is the major thing that we are, most of the people in the group are non-religious study and scholars, but the theological knowledge that we actually need without being a theology student was actually handed over to us at this workshop. Being able to know how to do grounded theology just in a simplistic way from the scratch was actually the height for us, and we're taking that home. We're also taking home the issue of conceptual methodology. There was a suggestion to us about the concept of tolerance being passive, and so we are looking at this, and this is where literature review is coming in handy for us. We really appreciate all our professors. We know we are getting across to some of them, and they are really getting across to us. They're giving us great inputs. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everybody, including Nelly, the technical team, Professor Adogame, the professors, the facilitators, Retiv. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Jim, you're muted.
Sorry, I didn't want to get noise there. The next one is Musili.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much, Prof. Jim, for that and for the opportunity. My name is Telesia Musili. I'm leading the group that is working on African value of communality and religious experiences in virtual space amidst COVID-19 pandemic, a comparative study of 3 selected churches in Kenya. And I would like to start by appreciating the organizers of the workshop and the facilitators for the mind-blowing, informative, and an eye-opener space that they created for us. You've prepared us for the surprises that we will meet in the fields and how to handle them. We are grateful. We've also learned as a group that it is important to be objective, to be creative, and even playful in the fields, being attentive to details in research process, of course, being cognizant of the limitations that we will encounter, and of course, that most of the methods that we use have limitations. And so the idea of creating that space that each and every methodology that we might use has limitations, again, was an eye-opener. And so we also got to learn that if something doesn't surprise you, then you're not doing enough. And so you need to create time to dig deeper. I think it was fulfilling, and I would want to appreciate the team for keeping to their promise that we want to learn that sciences cross-pollinate. And we've learned that theology, religious studies, sociology, anthropology, and the like cross-pollinate each other, and this was mind-blowing. It is also a takeaway for us that patience is important in the field, and also in our field of research as young scholars, that we do not embrace the cheetah mentality. That was important, that we should not just publish, but then have to come up with quality work, however long it will take. Patience is important, rigor is important, and repeating over is important. Learning that, of course, nobody is right in doing research. We've also learned a lot on grounded theology and ethnography. These were well done, and I would want to thank each and every facilitator for that and for the patience that you have bestowed on us. So we want to thank you again. We learned about archival research, we've learned about historical ethnography, and these we will employ in our study. Again, we learned about positionality, recognizing that our social location shapes what we see, and we ought to be open to ask questions what our standpoint stops us from seeing. Intersectionality theory, again, was brought about by Akin-Otiko, and this was important just to know that as we analyze our data, we need to see the intersections, either of gender, of race, and everything else that comes to the fore from our field data. Someone else has already mentioned about the deafening silence, listening to that and bringing in our analysis into the silences that we might encounter. And lastly, I would want to appreciate Prof. Damaris. We had a brainstorm with her, and she brought in the aspect of blending physical ethnography, going into the field, and virtual ethnography, depending on our interest on African communality during the virtual space. And so we're quite grateful to the workshop and to everybody else who has participated, and great also to meet our colleagues. We felt competent that we will be in a position to carry out this research and come up with quality and up-to-date knowledge that it's worth to be shared. We also felt that Akin-Otiko specifically had promised to share with us signposts, of course, in trying to sort out themes from ethnographical fieldwork, and she didn't get time to get through that. We would request amply as a group if such could be revisited. And we are grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Derek, back to you.
Ngale is next. You have up to 5 minutes.
Ngale.
Ngale, thank you.
Samuel, are you there? Is Samuel there?
Someone from this working group?
Okay, great.
Yes, I am. Sorry for a little bit. I want to thank the organizers of this workshop, and our topic. Maybe I should speak in Portuguese so that my colleagues will follow.
Os colegas.
The English translation in the globe below.
Yes.
So that everyone.
Testing English. Yes. Everyone can hear English.
Yes.
Primeiro quero agradecer.
So first, I would like to thank the organizers of this workshop, because for us, this is very important. And on the first day, when Professor Jim finished his class, I remember that I felt really small. I was just so impressed about how little I had already seen, you know, considering the structure of a research project with regards to grounded theology, in grounded theory, actually. And so it was very beautiful, really. And I want to be honest and say that I'm still digesting most of what I heard this far. I can say that I'm still thinking about what Professor Spicker talked about on the first day. So forgive me for this late digestion of everything that's been said. Our topic has as a title, Protestantism and Cultural Imagination in Mozambique, Assumptions for a Bottom-Up Theology. Assumptions for a bottom-up theology. And what is our question, our starting question? What do the Songas in this place, specifically in Gaza, have as religious values, as spiritual values that can be a platform so that we can build a bottom-up theology? So all of the tools that we are using are actually what will help us to bring experiences and spiritual values, religious values from that group. And how can this gives us what we need so that we can build this bottom-up theology? So our greatest assumption here will be that we don't want to take our theology or our theory to them. We want to do this in a simple way, and we want to talk to the ones who live in that village. That's why the bottom-up theory aspect is very important for us. It's paramount, because later we will see, oh, what are the types of theories that can actually be related to the experiences of those with whom we are working with. We have heard a lot from all of the 5 professors that have presented this week. So I'm not going to repeat everything that my colleagues have said, but it's all of this. My team is here. All of my team is here. And so what was the take-home message? Well, our conclusion was that we are really passionate about working with this bottom-up theory. In the simplest way possible, we want to talk to people and we want to learn from them what they know, what makes them survive in crisis situations in the colonial perspective and also in the post-colonial. So this is where we are. I think that we still have a lot to learn, and we really want to be grateful to Professor Tarangwi. He was always, very interested in interacting with us, and we are with him. And so we every day are learning about his support, and he's really helping us. So thank you very much. This seminary was crucial for us to give us guidance and to allow us to use the tools of social sciences in general and apply them to produce theology. We are not actually producing theology, but the villagers, the communities that will subsidize the matter for us to produce theology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the next is Akin. Let's see.
Akin, are you there? Okay, great.
Yes, yes, I'm here. All right, thank you very much. It's been a beautiful experience. I work in an institute where we do a lot of ethnography, and it's just that we haven't put it together like on a system like we have it now. So this is a beautiful workshop, and I haven't met with my team, but we're meeting on Tuesday, and I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot of brainstorming, re-examining what we have. The most intriguing part for me, every part has been good, but the most is the grounded theory. We actually have been thinking about that. So the workshop is a good one. It helps us a lot on that. And that's for our own research. It also would help us to, as the whole project is titled, Engaging African Realities. It's going to make us ask questions about the African realities. I mean, I have found that it's a lot difficult for us when you live within a context to ask questions that are relevant to the context very often. But now with this theory, I'm sure we're able to do a lot of that, engage with the realities in Africa and be able to respond to them. So now I think we can get on it and do it right. That's one thing we're taking home. Beyond the project, and so because this workshop, I kept telling my director that this is a beautiful workshop. It's time consuming, but it's beautiful. I'm thinking beyond the workshop. Maybe I should just say that I'm a Catholic priest and I do a lot of work in African religion, but now I will do a lot of engaging between these two religions and see how dialogue can take place. So take home, my team will meet on Tuesday and we've been having chats with our PA. We're going to be able to deliver on a good job. Thank you for the program. Thank you for the workshop. Thank you for all the resource persons. We're grateful.
Thank you for your participation. Jim, do you want to take the next two, and then I'll take the last two?
Sibanda.
Sibanda, are you there?
Okay. Yes, I am here. Right. Thank you, Chair. for the time. Now, our project. I don't know whether you are getting me. Are you getting me?
Yes, yes, you are loud and clear.
It's okay. Right, thank you. Our project is entitled African Spirituality, Health and Well-Being in the Face of COVID-19 pandemic in Zimbabwe. And maybe having attended this workshop, we are grateful as a group because maybe this workshop was also maybe very useful. From the first presentation that I attended, maybe the one from Professor Spiegard, I think we benefited even from direct comments after we presented our summary of the project. You remember how maybe some of our terms were maybe critiqued, so that maybe we would look into those so that maybe there is no maybe misrepresentation, or rather from the type of data that we will be looking at or looking for, we get the right type of data. I think we were taken through the groups of data, type of data. Some could be acts, some could be behavior, some could be events. But maybe we, with our type of project, the way how we structured certain sections, perhaps some of the terms we were told that we would end up getting reports instead of the real acts and so on. So I think that shows that maybe the workshop was actually maybe a way in which maybe a peer review was immediately proffered on our research. And indeed, when we get into the field and when we prepare our tools, I'm quite sure we would have come up as a team. In fact, we come up with a better focus on our project as we hang out there, maybe through the deep hanging out, which we were told maybe is part of the anthropology. So maybe as we hang out there, we believe that we will actually come with maybe a better outcome on our project. Now, maybe certain other issues that I feel maybe we benefited was the issue of maybe as scholars or as researchers, the need to strike a balance in terms of how you conduct your research. There are a number of issues that may maybe distort information or that you need to check when you do. Like for example, maybe you can look at empathy, it's important, but at the same time, this empathy, it should be balanced with the involvement. And so that's something that is, as we engage with African realities, particularly with this topic on COVID-19, I think we need to be aware that maybe we must keep our distance and try as well to capture the intersections. I think maybe that was another very interesting concept, the intersectionality that we find in a research. And I think we will try to see how that could benefit our project. So we are quite maybe certain that with the guidance that we got from the presenters in general and specifically from our project advisor, Professor Jehu Hansels, I think he was handy in also maybe chipping in trying to check on how we could maybe make our project a better project. So I think we are in the right direction. As we meet, we have a schedule for next week. We believe that our minds, maybe this information will still be fresh. We will be able to dig deeper and try to improve this, maybe this research of ours. And maybe already we were sensitized about the challenges that we are about to face under COVID-19. So we are researching on COVID-19, but at the same time, we have a challenge. That's a challenge on its own, because it means our tools, we must also try to balance those tools that can take us or capture information from online, and then also on face-to-face, depending on the situation on the ground. So I think with those few remarks, I want to thank the organizers for maybe making us richer in terms of getting to grips with engaged theology and anthropology. Maybe as we develop our tools of analysis, I think we will be able to actually put into practice all the techniques that we were reminded of across the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kwaramba.
Thank you so much, Professor Jim, for the opportunity. Our project is on the Diniwa, which is a Shona word meaning I'm fed up in English, exploring Pentecostal notions of singlehood and femininity in Zimbabwe. We are so grateful for the opportunity to be meeting and hearing great academics and great minds, both as facilitators and coordinators in this workshop. We learned a lot as a group and as a team, considering the nature of our research, which is targeting a religious group. The question on field research techniques was helpful, considering the nature of our project. The facilitators gave very helpful illustrations in their presentations. Some of them really, drove home the points, considering what we are expecting to draw out as findings in our research. The presentations also complemented each other, as if the facilitators all read each other's blueprints prior to the presentation. You could follow the themes, and you could understand very well, understanding reality and techniques on creativity in fieldwork. That showed the richness and the great choice by the directors. And we want to appreciate the directors, the coordinators of this project, to have us be part of this. And we are so grateful, Afe, Retif, and Nelly, and those that you work with. Thank you so much for exposing us to such a great environment. We are now confident that our PA, Prof. Damaris Pastau, will not have much challenges in a role as our project advisor, after taking into account the considerations also given by our colleagues on our topic after presenting our project. And we also met with the directors. They gave us insights on our project, and we are grateful. We also discussed with our PA, and we are looking forward to hosting her in Zimbabwe. And what we're taking home are key 3 points that we have noted. One, we are equipped on how to conduct result-oriented fieldwork using the learned theories and approaches that we have been given by the facilitators. The second thing is that we were equipped on understanding the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration, the cross-pollination, and moving away from the position of disciplinary isolation, where you say, this is my area, I don't go beyond that. And this is exhibited in our team, where we have a theologian, which myself, a sociologist, anthropologist with Reko, and a philosopher, Joylin. And we are so grateful that our minds coming from the different disciplines will produce a very good research. Lastly, our institution is in the process of a curriculum review exercise. And this workshop is, came in at a good time. The timing was very good. So that now it is possible to do a curriculum review or also involve ourselves in the curriculum review projectively and progressively, given the information on how theology and social sciences can marry and produce a good academic work in the country. We are grateful and thank you so much for the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mugambi?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am Mugambi from Kenya, and I represent a team that is studying alternative kingship structures in emerging Kenyan urban ecclesiologies. And to begin these few moments, I'd like to just share in the spirit of ethnographic research, I'd like to share an ethnographic research snapshot. Here are some of the themes that came through to the team from the seminar. Just some thoughts out there: theologizing data, perceptions and presuppositions, research as dialogue, focus on surprises, intersectionality, interdisciplinary value for research. So these are some of the things that came out of the really wonderful team that I have the privilege of working together with. From the sessions that are coming out of the eminent facilitators, thank you so much for what you have done. Themes that came out of that, I would summarize them in several different ways. A lot has been said, but curiosity is a big one that came through and that we want to incorporate into our research. Intentionality, a sense of being very deliberate about what we do in terms of the research and how we do it. And then creativity, opening our minds to allow the research to speak back to us. And that's something that has really come through from before the seminar and now even more seriously so in the seminar. And then from the project advisor, we are grateful to have a distinguished anthropologist who's our project advisor, Professor Mwenda. He has impressed upon us what we feel is a sense of responsibility to generate knowledge out of what we learn, both for our communities where we serve and also beyond to this community here, to this group of learners, but also beyond. And also he's impressed upon us that there's an untold story that needs to be researched well and then told. For us, from the distinguished directors and the technical team and Nelly, we really do appreciate the care that has been taken to develop a very insightful series of workshops. And I feel that this really adds a lot of value to the research that we have begun doing. And this builds on the conversations that we've had before with the directors, builds on even the other workshop that was opened up for us. I would like to specifically mention the Nagle Institute and the research grant that has made this possible. We are very grateful and humbled to have been entrusted with resources for such a noble cause of learning, resources that make it possible for us to do what we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. Now, these sessions gave us some insights from the lives of the directors. The facilitators shared very honestly and very openly, as well as the project advisors in the private conversations that we've had within our groups. I want to conclude with a quote, and this is as a tribute to Professor Walls, who we remembered and held a memory of at the beginning and in various other places, who was a mentor to me and an encourager, and whose words directly to me started me off on this academic life as a world Christianity scholar. I'm going to quote just in part, and he said, that the pursuit of scholarly life is a Christian vocation within God's mission to the world. And I really do sense strongly that you know, this seminar, this series of workshops has really helped me in that sort of way. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Solomons?
Thank you, colleagues, and thank you for a very rich workshop with excellent contributions. In my reflection, I want to start with Stevens's comments, which I think was quite sharp on the second day regarding attaining a PhD not being the equivalent to being a scholar. In a way, I think it was a comment that was quite Aristotelian, you know, linked to the cardinal virtues and wisdom in particular, highlighting wisdom as the mother of all virtues. Of course, here, wisdom is distinct from knowledge or data in a narrow sense. For example, reading on you know, many books or the best books on prayer will not necessarily make me a person of prayer. In the same way, coming to terms with all of the grand theories will not necessarily make me an astute practitioner or researcher in the field. I guess, in a way, this is the point of grounded theory or theology, the need to know and embody your environment and the people you engage, not just in a superficial sense. Now, this raises a few questions, at least for me. What is really at stake? Is the point just to increase my research output, as Adesina reminded us yesterday, publish or perish? Or are we doing this for the sake of the betterment of our people, the people of this continent? One need not be romantic, but at the very least, we need to be open and honest about what our motives are. Whichever way, failure to be honest will be detrimental not only to what we are called to do, but also the communities who will open their homes and open their lives for us to do our work. Of course, some of us have done enough research to know that if it's not worth the time and effort, or you know, if we don't believe in what we are doing, then it's not worth the time and effort. The realities of the African continent, of course, demand much more than that. Now, over the last couple of days, we have seen people who are not only vying to get our publication records up, as important as that might be, but people who at least appear to want to make a difference in the communities they have worked with. Instead of a disjointed affair, which meetings of this nature often is, we have been, you know, treated to speakers who really complement each other. At some points, they also contradict one another, which is great. Of course, I do not mind that at all, because that means a discussion is alive and ready, receptive for new ideas. My reflection on the speakers themselves, I mean, Speaker is theoretically astute, and his experience speaks for itself, really a living and walking encyclopedia, very knowledgeable and not afraid to highlight the pitfalls of organized faith, especially when it comes to us being more effective in doing our work. The thing that I take from him is, do not engage in ethnography in simplistic terms. The devil is in the detail. You have to immerse yourself in what you are doing. Stevens, I think, was the most abstract and experimental of our speakers. And this is probably why his contribution resonated with me the most. He acknowledges the importance of theory, but he also has an innovative streak. I guess, you know, in that grounded theology that he pushes and that he propagates, that provides the framework for these new innovative ideas to come to the fore. Kubai eloquently brings theory and praxis together in a fascinating, humane way, a sensory overload in a sense. I think her work is much more than a mere academic exercise. If anything, she's a good example of why we need more women in the academy. And I say this in the least patronizing way possible. The older I get, the more I realize there are certain things that I simply do not get, even if I try. This is why diversity in the academy is of the utmost importance. And I think the same would count for our research projects. Adesina, of course, came prepared to give us a reality check. Do not try to fool yourself into thinking you can get away from history. Our faith, our lives, the communities we are going to work with is rooted in history. It is thus my job or our job as researchers to come to terms with that history. Know what you are getting yourself into, essentially. Lemons, and of course I need to digest this a little bit more, and hopefully we can engage a little bit more tomorrow. But I think the key thing, just as a preliminary note, is the importance of interdisciplinarity. And here, in this case, anthropology and theology, not as exclusive endeavors, but as an collaborative effort. My big takeaway, and if I have to take our project advisors' advice, the communities we engage with are research partners over and above research subjects. And I sense this is more than just a semantic categorization. Grounded theology demands context to be taken seriously. And lastly, as mentioned, and this links to Lemon's point, transdisciplinarity or interdisciplinarity, if you will, is essential. Let me leave it let me leave it there for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for that summary. FA, I think everyone has given a report.
Okay. No, thank you. Thanks to everybody. First, many thanks to you, Jim and Derek, for taking this on quite impromptu. We are grateful for how you actually managed that they all kept to time. Secondly, deep appreciation to the project leaders. Hearing you reflect and provide feedback actually energizes us and empowers us to continue to work with you in the coming weeks and months and years. So we are here to serve you. And my charge to you, just by way of summary, is, and I wrote it here, let me just read what I've written so that you get the point exactly. My charge to you as project leaders: take the academic destiny of theological education in Africa into your hands and run with it. Let me repeat that. Project leaders, take the academic destiny of theological education in Africa into your hands and run with it. Unquote. Let me